Nobody ever made their friends put on weird little skits to impress me before.
What? Why didn't...
4 different albinos held us up, lost the fucking cat in a tree, and took our pictures outside.
Albinos may in fact have deep pack instincts. That's scientifically plausible.
It's cute.
It Happening One Night is the 6th episode of Season 6. It first aired on March 7th, 2016, and was written by Jackson Public with Doc Hammer. In it, Wes Warhammer, leader of the Doom Factory, arches Dr. Venture while the Monarch as Blue Morpho goes after Wes Warhammer. Meanwhile, Hank takes Serena out on their first date. The A story of this episode blends Andy Warhol with the Legion of Doom from the Super Friends. The name Doom Factory itself is an amalgamation of the Legion of Doom and Andy Warhol's personal studio in New York City, The Factory. The physical Doom Factory resembles a coffee table that was in the real-life factory. Aside from that, throughout the episode, there are tons of visual references to various Andy Warhol projects, including Andy Warhol's Campbell's soup cans, silver clouds, his Brillo boxes, and his 8-hour-long film, Empire. The members of the Doom Factory resemble both villains from the Legion of Doom and members of Andy Warhol's entourage, which were referred to as Warhol superstars. Jackson Public gives a pretty thorough rundown in the art book of all of the Doom Factory characters, so here goes. Frigid is Captain Cold meets Brigitte. Brigitte was an artist in the factory, kind of loudmouthed, a little bit heavyset, and frequently topless. Serpentine is the Riddler meets Ondine. I know a decent amount about the factory, but my introduction to them really came from the movie I Shot Andy Warhol. I love that movie. The guy who played Christopher on The Sopranos, Michael Imperioli, played Ondine in that, and he's just so snippy and sarcastic and great. Eenie Meenie is Edie Sedgwick. I guess she doesn't really correspond to a specific Legion of Doom villain. I just thought she'd look good in go-go boots and be a shrinking character because she was small in stature. Gorilla Gerard is Gerard Malanga, who is Warhol's right-hand man. He was the guy who did most of the work in terms of the silk screening and shit like that. Black Maria is Black Manta matched up with Paul Morrissey, who shot most of the Warhol films. He's the cameraman, so he's named after Edison's first film studio, the Black Maria. You don't get to know too much about this character. Trashenstein is a mashup of several things. He's our Solomon Grundy. Warhol made 2 movies, Trash and Flesh for Frankenstein, with an actor named Joe D'Alessandro. And the look of him here is based on both. He is like a Frankenstein, but he's got the hair and the headband that Joe had in Trash. That's a deep cut. Ultraviolent is obviously Ultraviolet. Billy Mame is also not based on any specific Legion of Doom character, but he gets to slash the couch the way Cheetah does. Just because it's so funny to slash some furniture, and his factory counterpart is Billy Name, who I think is actually the guy who decided to paint the joint silver in the first place. Our Giganta is Shehemeth, because she's based on Holly Woodlawn, and our version of Candy Darling, Hard Candy, is our Bizarro. And then there's Wes Warhammer. In riffing on Andy Warhol, I end up riffing on every popular culture representation of Andy Warhol that I've ever seen. The scene in the panic room where he's filming Dr. Venture and asks him to take his shirt off is a nod to I Shot Andy Warhol again. By the way, this is Billy talking. I Shot Andy Warhol is currently uploaded in its entirety for free on YouTube, if you want to check that out. And we still have a whole episode to talk about. Hank is supposed to be wearing the jacket from Michael Jackson's Bad music video.
Please don't hate me!
Dr. Venture and Sergeant Hatred compete in the real-life game Team Fortress 2. Several years earlier, Team Fortress 2 actually included multiple Venture Brothers-inspired items in the game, so its inclusion in this episode is a nice little nod to that. The ninja-themed restaurant that Hank and Serena go to on their date is based on a real restaurant called Ninja New York, which sadly shut down permanently back in 2020. During their date, Hank makes an impassioned speech about what he believes in, which is partially lifted straight from the movie Bull Durham.
I don't believe in doing that.
What do you believe in?
Well, I believe in the soul, the hanging curveball, pretzel rods, not twists, the powdery smell of girls' deodorant.
I don't believe in quantum physics when it comes to matters of the heart.
What do you believe in then?
Well, I believe in the soul. The cock, the pussy, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber.
I believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted with clones. I believe in the sweet spot, magic invisible gnomes, that cereal is not just for breakfast, but for any meal. And I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days. stopping only to go to the bathroom, obviously.
I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. I believe in the sweet spot, softcore pornography, opening your presents Christmas morning rather than Christmas Eve, and I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days. Good night.
This episode originally had another story cut for time about Scare Bear, which Jackson talks about in the commentary.
But yeah, Scare Bear had this whole thing. It was going to be this backstory where he was Wes Warhammer's previous, it girl superstar.
Right.
And had fallen on hard times because Wes just...
It's like a Valerie Solana's joke.
Yeah,
Because she's hilarious, by the way.
No, because she was never a superstar. More like Edie, like that. People accuse Warhol of kind of destroying these people's lives, of kind of sucking the life out of them.
Right.
And so it's kind of like Edie, and yeah, there was going to be a quick flashback of his, when he was on magazine covers and everything, and then the drugs start, and then he falls on hard times, and Wes starts ignoring him, and he sees that Wes is doing this to Edie too, because Edie's jealous that Wes is paying all this attention to Doc, and so he was going to stab Wes at the end of the episode, and the two of them were going to
There's your
try.
Valerie
The post-credits sequence would have been the two of them riding a motorcycle up to Woodstock together to just get clean and be in love.
There you go.
It's a short canon section today, so I'm going to mention a callback within the same episode. 21 can be seen reading the book Blood on My Hands, Grief in My Heart, which Rocco later tells Brock got him through some tough times.
You know, there is a book you should read. It's called Blood on My Hands.
Just follow my lead, Jersey Shore.
Just a few episodes ago, I complained about not really getting all the Duran jokes in Maybe No Go, and I've kind of got the same complaint about It Happening One Night. As a whole, I do like the episode, but a lot of the Wes Warhammer stuff kind of makes me feel like I'm on the outside of a really awesome inside joke. But man, if you're super in the know about Andy Warhol and like the Venture Brothers, this episode must be the greatest thing of all time for you. What I can say I instantly appreciated about this episode is the story of Hank's date. It's easy for us fans to recognize that Hank is awesome, but making a person who's just getting to know him see that is a bit of a writing feat. I've definitely used this one before, but I love Hank Venture, and I love the Venture Brothers. As always, thank you for watching, and go Team Venture. Tune in next week for A Party for Tarzan. If you dug this video, share it with a friend, and if there was some huge glaring thing that I missed in this video, follow me on Instagram at Ventureverse Guide to see these videos a week early and offer your input before I upload the final product.